Welcome back to Alkaline TV. This is Douglas Dennis, the Alkaline Chef. Today we're making pie crust, and not just any pie crust, spelt pie crust. None of that wheat over here. So we're starting out with 2 cups of spelt flour and a half cup of avocado oil. You could use grapeseed oil. And the spelt flour, there's a link to it in the description. This one is not the one in the link actually, but I wish I would have had that one, because the one in the link is finer and would be better for a pastry. But this one I got from the bulk company. I did a video about that, about what to stock up on. So you're just going to combine this with a fork. Here I have another cup of spelt flour, but I'm not going to add it all. I'm just using it to dust some more on and to also roll it out. So I tried rolling this out right the first day, but I found that I needed to chill this. But I'm going to show you everything that I did so that you can get the right consistency and so that you can also get a better result quicker from my experimentation. Alright, so that's looking pretty good, and I just should have refrigerated it from right then, but I tried rolling it out first. You just want to dust your countertop. Actually, you should use some wax paper or parchment paper, or if you have a pastry sheet, it's like a silicone mat that you roll out. And not only does it protect the countertop, not only does it prevent it from sticking, but it also helps you pick up the crust once you've rolled it out and easily transfer it to your pie pan. So this is rolling out pretty well actually. The problem is that it was falling apart, because I didn't add any water like most recipes call for, but since it was room temperature, it was just too wet. But this might work the first day if you have a baking sheet to roll it out on, like I was just mentioning. So that just wasn't working out, so I'm just going to refrigerate this ball until the next day. That way it will have chilled and completely combined. And I just added a few tablespoons of water, which I had skipped earlier. Alright, so here's the ball, and I wasn't really kneading it, I was just making it into a nice ball, although it appeared like I was kneading it. So you just want to cover it with something to keep the air out and put it in the fridge. I also oiled that little bowl just to make sure it didn't stick. So here's the next day. We're going to try again. Now the thing with the refrigerated dough is that you have to let it thaw a little bit. So it can't be totally cold. It's really picky. And as you could see, I took a teaspoon of water and sprinkled it over the top. I just did it again, and then I moved it all around with my hand to coat the top, and then sprinkled some flour so that it wouldn't just automatically stick. Also, if you've noticed, as a rolling pin, I'm using a glass bottle. You probably were laughing at me for that already. Make sure you coat the rolling pin with some flour so that it doesn't stick. Alright, so this is looking pretty good. Just added another teaspoon of water and another sprinkle of flour, and I'm going to try to get this a little bit more thin. And there, now it is big enough to be a pie crust. This is thicker than I would have wanted, And I'm oiling my pan, but before I put it in. Now here's where the parchment paper, wax paper, or baking sheet would have came in handy. What I did, I just lifted it up with a spatula and slid the cutting board under it and then flipped it right into the spot. So you don't want to push the corners in when you're fitting your crust into the pan. You want to gently lift up the sides and push the corners in so that you're not stretching it, because you could just poke a hole right in it. And I cut off the excess crust, and now you use your thumb and forefinger and your other one knuckle, and all you do is push them together, and it makes a simple little triangle. And the triangles, you want your crimps to be above the pan so that the sides of the crust don't fall in. See how they're hanging over a little bit? They go completely over the edge. That's holding it where it is. Now, some people use beans, some people use pie weights, but I'm going to use something else. Crinkle up some parchment paper. So you just uncrinkle this parchment paper and lay it out. You want to completely cover the crust so that no crust is peeking out and getting burnt. By the way, thank you so much for all the new subscribers. I appreciate your feedback and your comments. You guys rock. And then I'm going to use this Pyrex instead of a pie weight. And I checked the Pyrex website and they said you can bake it. Just preheat the oven first. They just can't handle sudden changes of temperature. And then I'm just gently, without ruining the crust, gently putting the parchment paper around the edges and popping it in the oven. It's been preheated at 375 Fahrenheit. We're going to bake this twice. The first time, we're going to bake it for 30 minutes. And here it is, I'm pulling it out, and that is really heavy with one hand. Be very careful, obviously, not to burn yourself or drop it on your foot. Alright, look at that. Nice and golden brown. Looks like it's starting to be done, but I'm going to use a fake egg wash, a vegan egg wash that I'm inventing, to coat all the little cracks. So I'm using the 1 tablespoon chickpea flour. It's also called gram flour or garbanzo flour. And 1 tablespoon coconut cream, or I ran out of coconut, it was coconut milk. I ran out of it and I just used the spiced smoothie that I was drinking that was mostly coconut cream anyway, and then 1 tablespoon of agave, and combine that, and look, it makes a nice little egg wash. And I'm using the brush, using my brush to brush it all out in the inside of the pan to make sure I'm coating all of these little cracks. This will make sure that none of the quote-unquote pumpkin pie filling will soak into the crust and make it all soggy and nasty. So I'm also, you don't have to do it to the crust, the design part, the crimped part. You can just do it to the bottom, but I'm also doing it all around because I think it'll give it a better taste and a better look. And I accidentally just knocked 1 crumbling piece off, but I tried it and it tasted good. getting perfectionist with that egg wash. Alright, now you want to just cover up the crust with some aluminum foil. Now be very careful. I'm just setting this over top of it. You don't want the edges of the crust to burn, but the middle of the crust can be showing because that's the part that needs heated the most. Then I baked it again for 15 to 20 minutes, just making sure that it isn't burning at all. Now it is nicely well done. That way none of the quote-unquote pumpkin pie will seep in. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate all the likes and subscribers. Make sure to hit the bell icon because I will be going live and doing a Q&A. I appreciated all of your feedback during the last live. Thank you so much. If you want to go alkaline and you're having a hard time, there's a link in the description towards the bottom. You can reach out to me. I have a 12-week transformation program that'll help you completely transition over and change your health and change your life. See you in the next video. Have an amazing day on purpose.